This demo will show how to enter in flight information. The easiest way to enter in flight information is really just to go to the monitoring plan. So this time we're going to use the fully completed monitoring plan, which is Acme version 1. If we go up here to the aircraft related list, we can see the aircraft that are related to this monitoring plan. I'm going to go ahead and click on one of these aircraft. And then on the top here we can see all the flights that are related to that particular aircraft, and we see all the information about the flight date, where they went to, all the fuel consumption, whether this was an EU ETS zone flight or not. So let's go ahead and create a new flight. So we'll say that the flight was today, and we'll do a departure airport of EGCC, and we'll do an arrival airport of GCLP. We'll say that we had 2 passengers. We had baggage of 200 kilograms, which is a whole lot for 2 passengers. But and then we'll put in our fuel uplift information. So we're using method A in this case, and so we'll say that our total fuel after uplift from our first flight, so you can hover over these and it'll tell you everything about it. So let's say that that was 4,300. We'll say we got to 4,500 after the subsequent flight, and the fuel uplift for the subsequent flight was 1,700. One other thing to note here is, for example, if this was an EU ETS exempt flight, so you'll notice that there's an exempt reason here, this is blocked out. But if we say this is an EU ETS exempt flight, we can go ahead and click on that, and this field will open up and it will give us all the reasons for exemptions. This is not an EU ETS exempt flight in this case, so we're just going to go ahead and turn that off. So when I click on save here, the record will be saved. The system will automatically calculate all of the information, like the total weight, the great circle distance. So in this case we see the great circle distance. This is calculated using the standard formula. You can see the TKM, which is also based off the great circle distance, but includes an extra 95 kilometers. So all of the information is here. So now that you've inputted your flight and you have a number of flights in here, as an end user you're going to want some reporting. So we've built a couple of demo reports for this. So let's go into the reports tab. You see that there are a few ETS Avia reports here. One interesting one that I think is interesting is emissions by aircraft by month. So we can come in here, click on this report, and this will give us a breakdown of our aircraft, all of our different aircraft by the registration markings, the month, and then the amount of emissions for that particular month. And it's very easy to customize a report, so we can easily go to customize if we like. Let's go maybe customize the criteria. And you can see here, for example, EU ETS zone equals yes. So we're only looking for EU ETS emissions here. If for whatever reason we didn't want that, we wanted it for all flights, we could just clear that to none and run the report again. And we would see updated numbers for that would include all flights. So that's a quick peek at the reports. There's a number of other reports in here that are also helpful, and many other reports can be created as needed. The next thing are dashboards. So dashboards are basically graphical representations of reports of summary data. So we've built a couple of sample dashboards here. This one, for example, is year-to-date emissions versus the expected amount. So when the customer put in their monitoring plan, they put in the information for their expected amount. So this tells them they're still well in the clear before they get to beyond their expected amount. This tells them the EU ETS emissions for the top 5 arrival localities. So these arrival localities may or may not be in the EU, but if they originated in the EU or they ended in the EU, it's an EU ETS sector, so they'll be included in this report. And then here, for example, is a fuel consumption by aircraft report. The great thing about dashboards is that it's very easy to get the data that's behind them. So for example, if I wanted to see the data that was behind this particular report or this particular report, I could just go ahead and click on it, and I can see the data that makes up that particular report, that particular dashboard. And that's the end of the demo for adding flights and looking at the resulting reports and dashboards.